It never ceases to amaze me the hubris that some of these people have with regards to what they think they know and what they think lawyers do or don't know. This book she's holding up in her hands that she thinks is a first year law school book is not. The book that she's holding in her hands is about 203 pages long. There were 6 classes my first year in law school. I had 6 classes. Some of those books were over 1,000 pages. Like civil procedure, contracts, property. Good Lord. I mean, those are big boys. Torts had a good sized book. Legal research and writing, which is a first year class, but they don't use law summaries. That was like 2 or 3 books that were smaller. So just so you know, there are lots of Gilbert summaries covering every aspect of what you would learn in law school. I quickly learned that what you learned in law school is the theory of law, and the application of the law is somewhat different. A lot of forms to fill out, basically. But she thinks that lawyers don't know what's in these things, but she only has the legal research, writing, and analysis, so she thinks all the answers are in that book. She is sadly mistaken. But guess who wrote Gilbert Law Summaries, or at least this particular one? This is the West Academic Store, and they actually detail who the authors are. It's Peter Jan Honigsberg and Edith Ho. Edith Ho, she is a professor of legal writing, director of the Legal Research, Writing, and Analysis program. She received her Bachelor of Arts from Smith College and her Juris Doctor, that's a law degree, from the University of Pennsylvania. What about Peter Jan Honigsberg? Well, he's also full-time faculty at the University of San Francisco. And let's see, he does a lot of research. He filmed a lot. He visited detention centers. Oh, look, he has a Juris Doctorate from New York University. Gilbert's Legal Research with Edith Ho. So yeah, this lady is uninformed and misinformed. She doesn't understand some basic things like there are no courts of common law. There is common law. And if a state recognizes common law, then you can use that state's common law that it's developed from. Like I think what Virginia has common law. They have some statutes, but they still recognize all the common law crimes. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help these people. It's the difference between a common law jurisdiction and a statute jurisdiction is it's a lot easier to look up a statute and see what the shape of the law is in, and then you could just see if any decisions have modified it, as opposed to a common law jurisdiction. I've never been in one where they've had common law, but I'm assuming that you're constantly looking up the latest cases as everything is subject to the most recent ruling. I could be wrong. I'm sure by this point they've probably narrowed it down a little bit, but unlike these people, I'm willing to tell you if I don't really know. Now, in California, there is still some common law. Just like in the federal civil procedure, there is some common law left in that area. There's no federal substantive common law. That is all statute or constitution, obviously. The common law is basically just little areas where there's no ruling, there's no rule, there's no There's no statute that adequately addresses something that needs to be addressed. And so the court will come up with a rule that they believe is equitable, and there you go. Now there's a little bit of common law. And then if the legislative branch doesn't like it, then they can write a rule that will replace that common law, because statutes replace common law. So if there is a statute covering it, there is no room for common law. My dog's drinking, and I feel compelled to allow you to listen to it. Because ever since I said it was morally the right thing to do, I have to remain logically consistent with my morality. He looks very satiated. And of course he had to drip water everywhere all over the floor after he was done. Anyway, what was I saying? It doesn't even really matter. Yeah, she says a lot of stupid things because she is so grossly uninformed and misinformed that, much like our friend Common Joe, she doesn't even have a grasp of the beginning. The reason why people get law summaries in law school is to help them understand their law books. These law summaries are not intended to replace the actual books that you study from. They are intended to be an additional guide to help you understand the materials that are in your law book. So before you go out and buy a Gilbert's Law Summary, two things to remember. First of all, there are a lot of them. And second of all, they are not a substitute for actually having a legal education and going to the law library and actually looking up the current state of the law. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.